Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dhammaya, Namo Sankhaya. Welcome back to a new topic. The topic today is you are what you are thinking. In Vietnamese we say tư duy quyết định số mệnh. This topic is very important to our mind lead, and it's also very close to a laws of karma in Buddhist perspective. So, for example, about universal truth, you do the unwholesome deed, it leads you to this simple life. And if you do the wholesome deed, it leads you to a happy life. So why our Buddhism and the teachings of the Buddha is become the universal truth, or become the universal religions for human being and for the worldwide. And the thinking here is very close to a Buddhist term, mind, citta. Yeah. The mind derived from citta. And a word citta is mean thinkings. So that our thinking here is includes feelings, sensations, formations, mental objects, and also consciousness. And according to the Dharma Padas, the Buddhist common text that all the Buddhist nations says us the fundamental teaching in Buddhism and was translated into many different languages, especially in Yamaka Waka, the 12 verse that the Buddha talks about the evils beget evils and good beget good. You know, the Buddha says in the Pali that Mano Papang Kama Thamma Mano Setha Mano Maya Manasaje Patutena Pasatiwa Karotiwa Tato Nang Tukhamanveti Jakang Wa Wahato Patang. It means mind is the foreigners of all evil states. Mind is cheap, mind mates are days. If one speaks or acts with wicked minds, because of that, suffering follows one, even as the well follow the hope of the drop up. So, according to this verse, the verse of evil begets evil is really mean that mind is the foreigners, mind is chief, mind mates, and mind mates. It means that everything, every existence in this world was every existence in this world is created by mind. And for this first verse, it means that if our mind is polluted by unwholesome mind, it also leads our life to the suffering, or to the supper state. Yes. Same as the well always follow the hopes of the drop up. And in this verse, the Buddha also mentioned a story of an arahant who had lost his eyesight, named in Pali term Jakupala. One day, Venerable Jakupala, who was blind, come to pay homage to the Buddhas at the Chetavana monasteries, where he was facing up and down in meditations. He accidentally steps on some insects. In the morning, some pickers visiting him found the dead insects. They thought ill of him and reported the matter to the Buddha. When the questions by the Buddhas were whether they had seen Jakupala killing the insects, the answers in the negative. The Buddha then admonished them, just as you had not seen him killing, so also he has not seen those living insects. Besides being arahant, he had no intentions of killing and was not guilty of committing an unwholesome act. On being asked why Jakupala was blind, the Buddha revealed the following stories to explain the natures of karmic effect. Jakupala had been a physician in one of his past experience. One, he had deliberately made a woman patent blind. That woman had promised to become his servant together with her children if her eyes were completely cured. Fearing that she and her children would have to become servants, she lied to the physician. She told him that her eyes were getting worse than, in fact, they were perfectly cured. The physician knew she was deceiving him. So in revenge, he gave her another ornament which made her totally blind. As the result of his evil deed, the physician lost his eyesight many times in his later existence. The Buddha then commented that an evil deed committed will follow the evil doer, just like a well follows the whole of the oak that bear the yoke. See? So according to this first verse, and the stories of its first verse in the twine verse, we try to not follow our unwholesome act, because the results of suffering is waiting for us if we are committed. And next is for the positive thinkings and positive act, regarding to good beget good, or we can say that the good deed, the wholesome deed, bring us the happy life. In Pali word we have Mano Popankama Thamma, Mano Setha Mano Maya, Manasaje Pasanina Pasatiwa Karotiwa Tato Nang Sukha Manveti Chaya Wa Anapayini. Its meaning, mind is the foreigners of all good states. Mind is chief, mind mates are they. If one speaks or acts with pure mind, because of that happiness follow one, even as one shadows that never leave. See, this is also, mentions about everything created by mind. Every existing one that we see by our eyes, or we are living depend on it is created by mind. And according to the Buddhist Theravada perspective, we believe that everything is created by the Dharma. We accept the idea that the Dharma or the teachings of the Buddha create the world. Not. We don't think that God created the world, but we believe in the Dharma or the Buddha teaching creates the world. And we also believe that only people could create the world, and only people could diminish or ruin the world, so that, you know, for people, you know, they are creates and ruin the world at the same time, and everything is start from people base of mind. So Buddhism has a responsibility to train people to become a good person, yeah, to create the world, to maintain the world, and to keep the world peace, happiness, and prosperity. And for the words of good, begetting good, you know, so it's also come with its stories. The story of why cry for the moon, Matta Kundali in Pali term. The story saying Matta Kundali was a young Brahmin whose father was very stingy and never gave anything in charities. Even the golds or ornaments for his only son were made by himself to save payment for workmanship. When his son was suffering from jaundice, no physicians was consulted until it was too late. When he realized that his son was dying, he has the youth carried outside to the verandas, so that people coming to his house would not see his possession. On that morning, the Buddha arises early from his deep meditations of compassion, say, in his net of knowing, in his net of knowledge, Matta Kundali lies in the verandas. So when entering Savatthi for armfuls with his disciples, the Buddha stood near the door of Matta Kundali house. The Buddha sent forth a rays of light to attract the attentions of the youth, who was facing the interior of the house. The youth saw the Buddha. He was very weak and he could only profess his peace. But he thereby gained some happiness. But that was enough. When he perseveres with his heart in devotion to the Buddhas, he was reborn in Tawatingsath, celestial world. From his celestial abode, he saw his fathers nomming over him at the crematories and affairs to the old man in the likeness of his old self. He told his father about his rebirth in Tawatingsa world and advised him to approach the Buddha. Offer alms and listen to the Buddha's sermon. The old man did as he was told, and after the sermon, the question was brought up as to whether one could be reborn in the celestial world simply by mentally processions proposed facing the Buddhas without practicing charity or observing the moral precept. So the Buddha will that Mata Kundali should appear in person. Mata Kundali appears in his celestial glories and told them about his rebirth in Tawadingsa world. Only then did the listeners become convinced that the young man had attained much glories by simply devoting his mind to the Buddha. At the end of the discourse, the old man realized the Dharma and donated most of his wealth to the cause of the Dharma. So, according to what verse in the 12th verse, in the Dhammapada, it shows us that Buddhism always takes on the laws of karma. Buddhism teaches people to believe in the law of karma. That is to say that you do good, you gain good. If you did bad, you gain suffering. Good or bad, it depends on your own decision. And no one in this world, even you come to the forest or come to the city or come to anywhere in this world, you cannot escape from your own karmic result. And one more important thing here, this first and second verse that I just mentioned last moment, very, very famous, that becomes common teachings, for every meditation masters, for every Dhamma preachers, for every Buddhist scholar. They always mention, about the verse, evil beget evil, good begets good, at their beginnings of Dhamma sharings. So I would encourage all of you to try to learn this verse by heart. Yes, and sometimes you can apply it into your meditation, your mindfulness practice, especially mindfulness of the Dhamma. For example, when you're sitting and you close, you can take a mental peace by Mano Papangkama Tama Mano Seta Mano Maya Manasa Je Patutena Pasudeva Karote Wa Tato Nam Tukaman Veti Jakang Wa Vahato Patang. And for the second, you can take a mental repeat that Mano Papang Kama Tama Mano Seta Mano Maya Manasa Je Pasantena Pasudeva Karote Va Tato Nam Sukaman Veti Chayawa Anapayini, something like that. And then your awareness and your happiness and also your wisdom can remind you that mind is the foreigners of stairs, mind is chief, mind mess are they. You just remember that the Dharma just remind you regarding to the mind, based on three main point like. So mind is foreigners upstairs, mind is chief, mind miss are they. It's enough. It is enough to the wares of our own mind. Because we believe that. Because we believe that, everything, both good and bad, it started from our minds, and only our minds that makes a decision whether we should be happy or should be unhappy. And I hope that because of the pure mind, because of our pure mind, I hope that you all can live this life based on your own compassion and wisdom. For the topic today is up, so wish all of you gain compassion and wisdom soon. Namo Buddhaya.